Choose. Welcome, listeners, to this week's debacle, the Full Send Rejects. I'm Kodack,
I'm Rose.
I'm Billy.
and we are leading this parade of things getting worse. During this week's episode, we have Gangsters and Pisces, as we tried doing last week, but we had some issues, so here we are now. And as always, pre-topic banter, starting with the Oscars that are on.
Woo!
We just watched one of the nominated movies today.
Poor Things.
Poor Things, yeah.
Amazing. Very demented, but amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. If you're listening later this week, we have a beerbate episode coming out, and we talked about the adult industry, and that movie was half adult industry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Lots of fornication.
Well, basically, I don't want to spoil it. Basically, like it. Oh God, what's her name? That's
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. She plays this girl who, like, she has like an adult body, but like an infantile mind. And then she's learning as the movie goes. And at some point, she discovers what sex is. Why does she have a fire extinguisher?
Distracted.
I might be a little distracted. But anyway, she discovers what sex is and basically goes on a world tour of sex. And there's a lot of stuff going on.
And Mark Ruffalo plays.
You see some Mark Ruffalo ass too.
Yeah. It was
it's actually a very good movie.
It is very good.
Disturbing, but good.
But let's not mention William Dafoe plays.
He was amazing.
The best type of Frankenstein creator.
He wasn't Frankenstein.
Yes, Frankenstein is a monster. I said creator. You can't say that he.
Okay, you have to be. When you say Frankenstein creator, it's like, okay, the person who created Frankenstein.
Yeah.
He's not Frankenstein.
I understand that. Why do you always have to argue with me?
Because it's how you word things.
Well, Frankenstein was a doctor, just saying.
Frankenstein was the monster, wasn't he? Created by Dr. Frankenstein.
Dr. Frankenstein created the monster.
Yeah.
So who? You just switched it around?
No, I didn't. You said Frankenstein created, but Frankenstein's not in the movie.
I know Frankenstein's not in the movie, but this dude puts pig's head on a duck's body.
Yeah, that's maybe he was a Frankenstein creator.
When the term Frankenstein is when you put random things together to make them work.
So I look at Frankenstein right now. I'm going to see that definition.
So if you were going to the kitchen and make something out of the blue, you're going to make a Frankenstein creation.
Definition of Frank.
You always have to find something to argue about. To Frankenstein something.
Immortal Prometheus is an 1818 novel written by English author Mary Shelley. Okay, that's right. Frankenstein creation. A person who creates a monster or a destructive agency that cannot be controlled or that brings about the creator's ruin. That did not happen in our movie. You ruined someone else's life.
To Frankenstein something, to use or talk about something that creates or invents something that is either in your control that becomes either very dangerous, often destruction, or something creative.
Fake news.
To Frankenstein something.
Okay, well, I learned something new today.
Okay. How about you learn not to argue with your
I will
wife?
argue because arguing led to me learning something.
You're such an impossible little shit.
I'm an Aries.
I'm an Aries.
So comment Gemini.
Speaking of the Oscars, Anthony literally watched
the red carpet just to be a bitch.
The red carpet pre-show.
Oh, there's my girl right there, Melissa McCarthy. Look at that.
Just judging.
Hair's done right. Look at that dress. Oh, that's could be better, but
just judging everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, that a boy.
Now, I'm going to apologize in advance. When Ryan Gosling comes on, I'm Just Ken, I'm going to get a little excited, okay? So I don't know if I'm cutting someone off. I might cut myself off. I don't know. It might happen. We have it on right now on mute to see who wins throughout the night. But yeah, apologies in advance. But we also watched Oppenheimer
Oppenheimer was
a
very
couple
great
weeks
too.
ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
another great movie.
Still didn't get that.
Highly, yeah, highly. It's on Peacock.
I know.
Yeah, but well, we did have this conversation once.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You have to make time for it. Both movies are about 3 hours long.
Dude, my attention span cannot handle it.
Yeah, that's he's gonna smoke half a pack of cigarettes before he watches a movie.
I watched
Yeah,
Wonka the other day.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that
haven't
far.
watched Wonka yet.
That's pretty good.
It's not high on my priority list.
Well, we took shrooms, so
Well, that fair enough. Fair enough. I can respect that.
He was getting wonky.
Wonky with Wonka.
Yeah, it was a chocolate bar. I was getting in the spirit.
Ooh, original screenplays coming up. But as we try not to get distracted from this, as we move forward, Billy, you're funny again and again.
And again.
Yeah, no, doing this conversation for like the 12th time is kind of hard. Yeah, back to doing stand up. Peps Pub every Friday. I'm usually there.
Yeah, Pep's Pub right there in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
What exact town is that? It's not St.
Port
Clair. That's
Carbon.
Port Carbon.
Port Carbon.
And you just saw Canaan too in Philly.
Yeah, I went to see Uncle Barbecue in Philly. Dude is a killer
And
every time.
now you are our face on TikTok.
Yeah, but I'm a TikTok sensation though.
Actually looking at you, you got reposted. So good on you.
No, no shit, I'm coming for you, Matt Rife.
Gets 3 followers and 1 reposter. I am coming for Matt Rife.
Billy doesn't even have his own TikTok
No,
account.
you never watched his TikTok. No. Jack Black.
No.
Oh, damn it. I don't care about him now. But yeah, I just looked. Oh, I'm sorry, and 6 likes on the video.
I'm coming for you, Matt Rife.
Put your helmet on. We're coming.
That's awesome. Yeah, the TikTok is up with we'll be posting your stand up and some other content on there like we've been talking about for the past like 6 to 8 months. Finally got to it.
The entirety of this podcast. Yeah, we're gonna make a TikTok.
Finally got to it.
We did it.
Only a
It's
year and like a
regards.
month.
Hey, better late than never, all right?
You know what? Between Billy's funnies and maybe we'll get swirly and we should just go to the store, buy 2 bottles we've never had before, and just do reviews on them.
I just
We
took
have
a
a
shot
lot
of
of
Black Velvet. I'm so scared of liquor right now.
Black Velvet's not good. Black. No, no, no,
No
no,
good
no.
comes from Black Velvet.
I still don't understand why you took that Black Velvet from me. We got some.
Dude.
Was it Pete? Was it Big Pete?
Oh, no one.
No. Hey, Big Pete's great.
Oh,
Billy wants Big
No.
Pete.
No, I
no.
don't.
He already knows about it. Okay.
I sure do.
You know what's bad when Auntie doesn't even want it.
No, I don't even want it. And I drink some terrible things.
I drink Black Velvet and I don't want it.
Episode right there.
I mean, it'll be fun though. I mean, we have a lot in there that we can talk about for people to do, but it'll also be fun to take trips.
Yeah.
We're gonna film the cannon.
And the cannon. There's no more cannon update. We gotta see what's going on with that. We have to get a date for the cannon.
Oh, wait, Billy, wait till you see these decorations I got for Anthony's birthday party.
Oh no.
His face is
My
on.
face will be everywhere. And she wants to get a goddamn pinata of
I'm
my
gonna
face.
get him a pinata of his face, and I'm gonna fill it with chocolate and shotties.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Just make sure you get a string or something to tie it up somewhere.
It's going to be one of those, it gets worse.
I don't. Oh my god.
You thought the keg was bad for your graduation party.
This is
No, but
420, bro.
yeah, there's a freaking whatchamacallit, porta potty,
Yeah, there's
pinata,
some cornhole, some fuckery.
Oppenheimer.
What can go wrong?
Yeah, it's only a mystery what's gonna happen for this party.
A Kodak party can never it can never be tamed.
Mm-mm.
No. Maybe we'll go for another adventure.
Oh
Oh
boy.
god, I hope not.
I'm just gonna make sure your phone's charged and your location is on.
That's probably for the best.
If your wife is smart, she'd do that to you too.
We're getting air tags.
Yeah.
Let's just air tag ourselves.
You know what? I'm gonna get shirts made for everybody that I feel like is going to be a risk, and it's gonna say, please return to 5 George Street."
Well, I had your address out there, bud.
Yeah, it's probably not a good thing to put that out there.
Maybe you should
We're,
bleep it out a little bit.
I don't have time to fix this.
we didn't say the town, although I'm pretty sure we said
Please.
the town before.
This
Well,
has to be out tomorrow. I don't have time to do it. It's 8:00. Oh yeah, beep it out. I'll show you beep it out.
look at the time
But yeah, I just said the time. It's 7:52.
on the recording, sir.
Oh, at the recording, yeah, we're at 11 minutes.
Well, that way you know to go in there and bleep it out.
I'm literally scheduling for this.
Okay.
But we also do have our bonus episode this week. They'll be out, I'm thinking Thursday. We had a beer bait episode where we talked about some various topics
We talked about.
we discussed as civilized people.
See, civilized.
Yeah, civilized. We're very civilized.
Yeah.
So me and Anthony were talking about before. You have to create arguments because it's no fun agreeing on everything.
Oh, we did a good job on disagreeing.
And we did a good job. We really sold it. There were certain things you're like, shit, I have to create an argument. It's going too smoothly.
It's one of my specialties, really.
Yeah, no, you could probably make an argument out of just about anything.
Test me. Go ahead.
No, I'm all right.
Billy,
No,
test
we
me.
were
Go ahead.
aware.
No. We don't need this episode being longer than it needs to be.
You're right. You're right. Well, then, I think that's all we have for the pretty topic. So, if we want to get a little fishy here with the Pisces,
All right, are we gonna come make a splash?
the old aquatic dessert,
Yeah, I wanted to get this done before before the end of Pisces season.
which is when March 20. Oh, we're almost there.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
Yeah. And then it's on to certain
Aries, triple fire sign. Talk
God, you're such an Aries.
he is such an Aries.
fucking deal with it.
Anyway.
I can't wait.
Pisces. This is the last constellation in the zodiac sign, and yes, it is a water sign.
Let's keep swimming. Let's keep swimming. What do? We swim.
Swim.
Drink air.
we swim in air.
Oh, there's Billy. Billie Eilish.
Oh, she's gonna sing again.
What was made?
Anyways. I got one sentence in before you fucked around.
What? Look at those ankles.
Jesus Christ. Anyways, this fish symbolize the two opposite directions representing constant divisions of the Pisces attention between fantasy and reality.
Like D&D.
Yeah. As the final sign, Pisces has absorbed every lesson from their previous signs, all the joys, the pains, the hopes, the fears. You would think they would be better. These little fish are known to be psychic, empathic, and compassionate creatures, and they are filled with such immense sensitivity that they can easily become swallowed by their emotions, and they have to remind themselves to stay grounded. Do you know any
Pisces,
Pokemon that could be a water and a ground type?
Wishcash, Barboach.
Oh, what a Pisces.
Yeah, they're catfish. They are.
I love how I can just give you any Pokemon scenario and you just so sexily just come.
Fun fact, they actually had a whole episode based around Wishcash causing earthquakes. It was like a giant catfish, but it was also released. The week that Japan had I think it was the Fukushima earthquake or something
Mhm.
that like just devastated everything. Like, this is probably inappropriate, so they just banned it.
You know, it's moments like this that I just realize how lucky I am that I married such a magnificent human being.
Damn right.
Anyways, Pisces are ruled by Neptune. Makes sense. Governed by creativity and dreams, these fish adore exploring their imaginations. Neptune energy is energy of the ocean, magical, mysterious, and often scary.
You have
One
such
of the places.
Neptune energy.
What was that?
You have such Neptune energy.
Your energy is very Neptonic. Under the sea.
Pisces must be wary of mirages. These fish prefer wearing their rose colored glasses, addressing any kind of problem. These Pisces have reputations of being flaky or delusional. This water sign should also remember that problems can't go away just by them swimming on their own.
Just keep swimming. Just keep.
Tell Dory
Will
that.
for ignorance never makes conflict disappear, it only gives it a chance to grow. Now, I'm not always just going to attack zodiac signs. There are some good characteristics.
That there
um,
is. That there is.
yeah, there is. You know, not everybody can be an Aries.
Unfortunately. Cream of the crop.
Pisces are known to be very compassionate, artistic, deeply emotional, often inclined to throw themselves into caring too much for other people's at all costs. They are pleasure seeking, very romantic, imaginative, and very impressionable.
Hmm.
Yeah. They kind of, like I said before, how they take notes on other zodiac signs before them. They pick and choose.
Oh, like the romantic Aries.
Yeah, because you're so
I
romantic.
am.
Um, or how about the negative
What's
traits?
the first one?
Flighty,
Oh, flight. I thought it was fighty.
flighty, lazy, moody, oversensitive, indecisive, pessimistic, clingy, dependent in
Wait,
relationship,
how is cleaning a bad thing?
and closed off.
I ain't closed off.
I'm not attacking Aries right now. I'm attacking the Pisces. Why'd you take it so personally? Jesus. Well, you know what
Know
kind
your
of trait
battle.
the Pisces picked up the clinginess from those Aries. You're like, why is clingy a bad thing?
Whoops. I think it said fight. I thought that was fight.
It's
It's flighty.
flighty.
Oh, I was gonna do something funny.
No. Gotcha.
It's not gonna make sense now.
Is this gonna be the theme song that starts all of our podcasts?
Totally get bored of it. Actually, it's very good. Hype up for an episode.
Yeah, hypes up my pressure.
So you were saying
All right. What is the most compatible and most non-compatible for these fish?
water.
Crabs.
Pisces get along swimmingly with their other fellow water signs,
Called it.
such known as
Crayons.
and Scorpio.
Scorpions.
Since they share such a similar desire for emotional depth, however, they may not find their best match in earth signs, which is your Taurus, your Virgos, and your Capricorns, Billy.
Nope.
No, good for you.
No fish for you. Pisces have such an escapist nature. They tend to struggle finding more practical matters to day to day life. So they need to be well paired, and earth signs can actually create more of a loving, grounded balance for them. But who wants that?
Come on now.
Who
Eh,
wants to be?
Get your shit together.
Stay toxic, my friends. However, they are least compatible with anybody who is bold, energetic, and impulsive, like your fire signs, Aries,
Looks like Puck Mary.
Leo, and your Sagittarius.
Boom.
These aren't the best match for any fish. Alina's a Sagittarius.
Well,
You're not gonna get along with your
I
daughter.
soon. Fire signs can be lively and spontaneous, but they also can be very aggressive and domineering. Gee, I don't know what that's like. That combative energy may make a Pisces feel emotionally unsafe. You're an emotional bully.
how much emotional?
To a fish, you're an emotion. You're the hook. Okay.
Well, tough shit. Become a flying fish, all right? Soar above where you're supposed to be.
Just trying to make you a great white.
In addition, Pisces can also struggle to form a meaningful relationship with the cerebral, unemotional air signs such as Geminis, your Libras, and your Aquarius.
Honestly, fish need water, not air.
Well, yes.
If I'm the hook,
Water
you're the
bears.
suffocator there.
Which is pretty sad considering one of my closest friends is a Pisces. It explains why we have a very love-hate relationship. Now, down to my favorite part of these zodiac write-ups, famous serial killers under these Pisces signs. Now,
These loving people.
these beautiful, beautiful, disgusting monsters.
Such a romantics.
I believe for the most part, everybody here is such a famous uh, killer of some sorts to where they're a household name to where everybody should understand who they are.
We made our romantic books. It's Batman.
One of the better Batmans. Anyways, first on the list, John Wayne Gacy, born March 17th, 1942 in Chicago, Illinois. John Wayne Gacy was most famously known as the Killer Clown. He was a sex offender and a serial killer. He assaulted, raped, and murdered at least 33 boys and young men in the 60s and the 70s. He tortured and killed all of his victims inside of his ranch house, and he was given the death sentence in March of 1980 and then was executed May 10th, 1994.
I wonder what took them so long to execute him.
Funds, maybe.
This is America. We have no short of funds of killing people. Come on now. Let's be real.
Some people are on death row for a long time.
Well, yeah, because they can appeal constantly
and
and
yeah.
whatnot. Go to Supreme Court and all that other stuff that they wanted.
That's fair. Next on the list is Richard Ramirez, born February 29th, 1960, in El Paso, Texas. He is known as an American serial killer, rapist, burglar. Richard Ramirez terrorized people of California, mostly the Los Angeles area, between 1948 and 1985, before eventually becoming captured by the police. This one was famously known to be the Night Stalker. He was finally found guilty of 43 charges, including 13 murders, and was sentenced to death. While on death row, he died of cancer on June 7th,
Got him.
2013.
Yeah, I don't like that.
He was convicted in the late 80s.
Mid 80s.
Mid
Not to argue.
late 80s. Like, they're just to say, but before I was even born, this man was caught and convicted. It was on death row.
People were taking us all on some god. I was like, you have
And-
cancer now.
Died when Cole won. Think about that.
I have thought about it.
That's insane.
It was even more insane. You had a child when I was in high school.
That's so funny.
I get here after the laughter. Yeah.
Funny. You making fun of my age?
No.
Okay.
I just thought there's some more connections. There's some more lore to add.
Yeah. So many connections. Boop. Do you know what's also funny?
So glad I can't wait.
That you were also an infant to a high school student.
2 high school students, actually.
2 high school
Yeah.
students.
Yeah. You got to follow that, or
No, I'm just saying. I had still in high school. And while you were learning to crawl and babble and shit your pants, your parents were learning algebra.
yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, checks out.
Yeah. Small world.
Oh, Oppenheimer.
You're like, oh shit. Change it. That was such a good. Okay, not to be distracted before I go to the next one.
Get your shit together.
But the directing on this one was.
It's just production design.
I know, but I'm saying the directing on that movie was tribby.
Poor Things one.
Woo-hoo! Anyways, next on my list, we're going to switch it up and go to Eileen Wuornos. Also born February 29th. She was born in 1956 in Rochester, Michigan. She was sexually and physically assaulted by her own grandfather during her childhood and teenage years. Eileen Wuornos took to prostitution to support herself. Eileen early life in prostitution kind of played a role into her molding herself into the serial killer that she became. Wuornos claimed that she had clients that either tried to rape or attempt to rape her, and the homicides that she committed were self-defense. Wuornos was sentenced to death for 6 other murders, and she was executed October 9th, 2002 by lethal injection after spending more than 10 years on Florida's death row.
We ain't woke here. We put people to sleep.
No, Florida don't fuck around.
Florida,
No, they're
Texas.
pretty quick about it.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Nicole's father was in Florida State Prison when Bundy was executed. The jolt from the electrocution, they said, was so strong, all the lights flickered.
Should probably upgrade that.
But that was Florida. Late.
Sounds like shoddy electrical work, really.
Isn't
like
that
Florida.
crazy? That this different types. Small world. Anyways, on to the next one. Delphine Lalaurie. Her birthday is March 19th. She was born in 1780 in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Double loaf.
Yeah. Delphine Lalaurie was also known as Marie Delphine McCarty, or Madame Lalaurie. She was a socialite in New Orleans who tortured and killed countless slaves in her Royal Street mansion. Her crimes were discovered after a fire was set in her mansion, and an outraged mob sequentially destroyed her house while she fled the scene and left New Orleans.
John Cena's naked on the screen.
Fuck, I don't have it on either. Shit.
Why is John Cena naked? How is everybody seeing him? This is a mystery.
The simulation is broken. Madame Lori, what have you done?
Okay, so not let me finish off. Anyway, she fled New Orleans. She may sound familiar for all those who watched American Horror Story. They did I believe it was Coven
Yeah, Coven.
that they really did a good job. Kathy Bates is a fantastic actress.
And the next one we have to watch, the next season that we are on, I think she's in that one too as
Yes.
her.
Um,
Roanoke.
I did love doing the research. That's fantastic. I did love doing the research on La Leroy to where
my-
this is going to be a upcoming episode. I kind of fell into a rabbit hole on that one, and it's going to be one of those it gets worse episodes.
Is he presenting?
Completely naked.
He's completely naked with a block of wood in front of his wood.
That's not a block of wood. That's the announcement
Envelope.
who wins. Yeah,
Oh.
that's the envelope.
Oh, they're doing costumes too. That's very fitting. Oh, he is ripped.
Yeah.
Good for him. Okay.
Now, last but not least on my killers list here, we have Dennis Rader. Dennis Rader was born March 9th, 1945 out of Pittsburgh, Kansas, not Pennsylvania.
We have better killers.
Oh,
Rader was better known as the BTK killer, abbreviated for its form as either blind or bind, torture, and kill. This American serial killer murdered 10 people and then sent letters to the police and the media explaining his crimes. Can you imagine just killing people and just getting so bored that no one caught you that you just wanted to like just dangle the fact that you did this and what you did to these people?
that would be
Yeah, I
Kodack,
think some.
100%.
Yes.
Hey, don't say I'm a killer.
Following his 10-year hiatus, can you imagine? I'm like, I'm bored. I didn't get caught. I'm killing all these people. I'm just going to quit for 10 years. He began sending letters again because obviously he wanted someone to catch him. But this then led to his arrest and his conviction.
You'll never get me, you see?
In conclusion, the amount of famous killers underneath the star sign was unreal. So watch out for your Pisces friends. They may have a few screws loose.
The real romantics. 14's got another one.
Cool.
All right. Let's hope let's not butcher this next one.
Oh, who's ready for gang wars, nose biting, and learning that I'm normal size for the 1800s?
Love it.
I'm probably going to reference the size thing for the rest of the episode, just so everyone's aware. Today we're going to take a trek to Chinatown in Manhattan. At least that's what it is now. In the mid-1800s, an area of the borough known as Five Points was wrought by gangland Native Americans. Notice the quotations there for people who can't
Noted.
see it in Spotify land. The Native Americans versus incoming Irish and German Catholics settling in their, let's be honest, real kind of shitty neighborhood.
Manhattan had terrible neighborhoods for immigrants. Who would have thought?
Yeah, all right. The Five Points neighborhood of Manhattan was a very well-known section of the city for all the wrong reasons. Disease ran rampant throughout the neighborhood. It was also known for the several crimes committed, mostly by the feuding gangs of the area. The area got its name because the intersecting streets came out to 5 points. Think kind of like Tamaqua, but a little worse. In 1932, an outbreak of cholera started in the neighborhood before spreading throughout all of New York. This likely started and spread so quickly because the neighborhood was extremely crowded and had barely any form of sanitation. Even though all of this was very well known, the wealthy would come to see the depravity of 5 points, usually with a police escort. Five Points was also a landing spot for many incoming immigrants coming from Ireland due to the famine. There were also German, but they don't really play too much into Bill the Butcher. It was also known for a political party named the Native Americans, as they were called at the time. These are white dudes whose parents immigrated here but consider themselves natives. Not nearly as cool as I kind of cute that one up to be.
That's an American as you can get right there.
This party's name would be changed in 1855 to the Know Nothing Party. Learned something new every day. I didn't know how that started. In the middle of all this, the leader of the natives was King Shit of Shit, William Bill the Butcher Poole, and I fucked that line up. Thank you for spacing me.
I even indented it, so it's even a little easier.
Oh, you're the man.
I try.
Born in Sussex County, New Jersey on July 24th, 1821, Bill was the son of English immigrants. His father was a butcher and decided to move his family to Washington Street in the Bowery of 5 Points in 1832. Bill studied under his father, learning all the tricks of the trade, becoming an expert in butchery and sharp shit. Not much is really known about his childhood other than that, but if his dad was a butcher and refrigeration wasn't a thing yet, I'm sure his childhood wasn't that great. Sometime in the early 1840s, Bill began to volunteer with the local fire department, Howard Volunteer Fire Engine Company Number 34. Obviously, with 5 Points basically being a slum, the houses were practically tinderboxes, so fire was kind of a huge problem. The fire companies were run by the gangs in the area, and Red Rover, as Number 34 was known as, was run by the Washington Street Gang led by Bill himself. The companies would fight over who would be the one to get water on the fire, as hydrants were pretty hit or miss at the time.
Imagine being the person with the house on fire.
Come on, man.
House is on fire. There's a bunch of Irish bastards fucking fighting each other. This is playing fisticuffs with the fire hydrant. Just
No,
as Ben Franklin did.
no matter who got water on the fire, it was almost always a total loss. The companies would be brawling instead of actually working on the fire, which honestly sounds like it'd probably be really fun to watch. This kind of shit continued for years, and after combining with several other nativist gangs in the area, the Washington Street Gang evolved into what was known as the Bowery Boys. With a larger number, the Bowery Boys would send someone out to the closest hydrant as soon as the tones dropped for the fire department. They would flip the barrel over it, and then they would sit on top of the barrel until Number 34 could arrive and tap the hydrant.
Much like how people put chairs out when they shovel a parking spot.
Yeah, but this is like someone's house to burn it down.
Tomato, tomato.
I was gonna leave this part out, but some of the names of the gangs that joined with Bill and the Bowery Boys just made my fucking head hurt. Some of them are American Guards, the Atlantic Guards, True Blue Americans, brother, and most of them at least had one member of a secret organization called the Order of the Star Spangled Banner Guard. All these groups were obviously the sons of immigrants who hated immigrants, and all had an affiliation with the Native American Party, which is the biggest slap in the face. They were all Anglo-Saxon Protestants who despised the Catholics, but they weren't above hiring them for cheap labor.
American way. See, they're native.
Yeah, the Bowery Boys would often fight with an. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going. The Bowery Boys would often fight with an Irish gang called the Dead Rabbits. The rabbits were known for carrying around actual dead rabbits on a stick throughout the streets, which maybe helped with the smell, I guess. The rabbits came about because the Irish were starting to get real pissed off, and who could really blame them? If anyone remembers the Molly Maguires, kind of the same deal.
Yeah, the Irish community kind of got boned in America.
Yeah, not a great. Oof. That's why St. Patty's Day is such a fucking chaotic holiday here. To be a leader in the 5 points, it's probably really helpful to be a terrifying man, and Bill was just that. Standing at least 6 foot tall and over 200 pounds, Bill was considered a huge fucking dude for his time, which means I was average size, God damn it. Right? Bill was also a bare knuckled boxer who was known for fighting just a little dirty. He was known for eye gouging, ear biting, and also known to bite off noses. Apparently, the nose biting thing was just a normal thing in fights at 5 points. So you had a bunch of Lord Voldemort right around the Manhattan slums. Bill was also
Show me,
highly. Where is Harry Potter? Bill was also highly skilled with blades, obviously, and was known for a good knife fighter, too. Through all the boxing and brawling, Bill gained several enemies, but none greater than John Morrissey. John was an Irish immigrant boxer who was working closely with the Democratic Party headquarters at nearby Tammany Hall. A bare knuckle boxing match happened between Poole and Morrissey in 1854, and Bill butchered the competition. Eh? Eh?
Ha ha ha! I get it.
Morrissey, who Morrissey, who clearly was a sore loser, plotted revenge on Bill, and on February 25th, 1855, took action. Two men, one of which was a fired New York Police Department officer and acting as Morrissey's enforcers, entered a bar called Stanwix Hall on Broadway. Poole was already inside, getting shithoused, as he does. And after a small altercation, Bill was shot twice, once in the leg, once in the chest. The newspapers had called it a fatal wound, but being the badass that he was, Bill would live another 2 weeks with a literal bullet in his heart.
Jesus.
On March 8th, 1855, Bill finally succumbed to his injuries in his own home. As the story goes, his last words were, "Goodbye, boys, I die a true American." Poole also named Morrissey as his killer in his last words. He was buried March 11th at Greenwood Cemetery, which, as far as I know, is still a functioning cemetery.
Hmm. So we can visit this.
I mean, yeah. Although Bell the Butcher was a xenophobic piece of shit, he still led one of the most notable gangs in New York under the guise of being Native American, which by now we all know is one of the funniest things to come out of politics. The Native American Party's name would change following Bill's death to the Know Nothing Party. The super clever name came about because upon being asked about the party, members would declare, "I know nothing," and carry on. We were real clever at naming things back then. The character of Bill the Butcher in Gangs of New York is obviously based on Poole, however, wasn't even close to historically accurate. As I said, Bill died at the ripe age of 33 in 1855, but in the movie, Daniel Day-Lewis saw past the Civil War to the age of 47. Regardless of historical inaccuracies, much like every fucking Leo movie, Gangs of New York is still one of my favorite movies and definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it. I have zero idea what I'll be covering next week, but always taking suggestions, listeners.
Hell yeah. Good job on not butchering that.
Yeah, I tried.
You're killing it.
Thank you. Thank you. Ah,
Uh-huh.
I get it. Because this week, I will be diving into the Melbourne Gangland Killings, which will be being dived up into two different parts. This week, I will give up a general overview and the events of the late 90s. And next week, I will go into what happened at the turn of the 21st century because there's just a lot here. A lot of murder. The Melbourne Gangland Killings were a series of 36 murders of underworld figures in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. that took place between 1998 and 2010. These killings were mostly retributive killings between underworld groups that also caused a power vacuum within Melbourne's criminals, with rival factions going to war for control and influence. Very much like how you see in American history how the mafia kind of went after each other from time to time. Most of these murders remain unsolved. However, detectives believe that Carl Williams is responsible for 10 of these murders, who would eventually plead guilty in 2007 to 3 of these murders on account of a conspiracy to commit murder. Australian laws at the time made it very hard for the public to know the details of this plea, so I have not been able to find out much more information on the plea deal itself. I could probably do a whole episode on Williams, who was also known as the babyface killer due to his facial features. It was also called a cowardly killer by the judge who sentenced him. And honestly, if a judge basically calls you a pussy, just go to solitary confinement because you will be someone's bitch in the clinic.
Just sentence yourself to death on that one.
Just accept the fact that you're gonna be someone's bitch.
Your whole
Yeah. You're not top dog. I will be detailing his murders throughout this episode and next week's episode. I'm gonna do the second part of this. However, with his confession, investigators did learn how the series of killings began. On his 29th birthday, Williams met with crime boss Jason Moran and his half brother Mark Moran on October 1999 in Gladstone Park. Jason shot Carl in the stomach over a disagreement about money related to the amphetamine trade. After recovering, Williams vowed to kill the whole Carlton crew.
that seems a bit much.
Well, no. Hey, he was a
All of
gangster,
them?
got shot in the stomach. Yeah, he wanted to wipe them out. Think like the Punisher from Marvel, except instead of his family being killed, he just got shot in the stomach.
That's so much work. And you dealing with an injury?
That happens. Listen, when you live in a continent where you have all those fucking poisonous snakes and crocodiles, you're a little tougher than the average American.
Yeah, you could probably just throw a snake through someone's window or something. Gets the job done.
There was a rumor that the revival of these killings began when lawyer and underworld crime figure Mario Condello was murdered in his home. However, police were quick to dismiss this, possibly in an attempt to prevent further violence. Condello himself was awaiting trial for 3 murders at the time of his death, and this took place shortly after the end of these murders.
So it sounds like he was
Carl, oh yeah, I believe he was meeting with an investigator, and then boom, killed. Carl Williams himself was murdered in prison on April 19th, 2010, by fellow inmate Matthew Johnson, along with a second inmate in Barwon Prison. Williams was 39 at the time. One of the weapons used was a piece to an exercise bike. Peloton really
metal.
killed. Stay away from Peloton.
He got beat with a
From
belt.
From what I gathered, it looks like Williams' head was bashed in from behind, and he also suffered a cardiac arrest. Or a cardiac event, which is just likely a heart attack. The prison was also apparently one of Australia's most secure prisons, so there's questions of, did someone turn a blind eye or corruption or anything of that.
Epstein?
He got Epsteined by Peloton.
God damn it.
For a little bit of background on Australian gang life, much like the Yakuza of Japan, organized crime arose in Australia following World War II, which formed with the Painters and Dockers Union along Melbourne's waterfront. With a similar approach to the Italian mafia in the States, control over the unions was vital to the crime figures of Down Under. Gangs primarily focused on the distribution of heroin and cocaine and used the Melbourne markets as distribution points. By 1990, Australian authorities described Melbourne as the amphetamine capital of the country/continent. Soon, the local gangs expanded their business into protection rackets in King Street nightclubs, prostitution, gambling rackets, and armed robbery.
Yeah.
Capitalism at its finest. According to an archived article on The Age, an Australian news service, police began to just give up the fight against drugs and just sent resources elsewhere, including scrapping plans for expanding the existing drug task force, with the squad being told just make do with the resources you have. On top of this, the squad was split into three groups, which limited their ability to communicate and focus on who they needed to. One was tackle and Asian gangs, one investigating Romanian/Russian gangs, and one for local gangs. To further the problem, laws regarding amphetamine were lax. If caught, you would face a max of 4 years in jail, whereas heroin could get you 20 years. Also, the ingredients were readily available, and there was really no oversight by the government to track the production of amphetamine.
Fuck the dare program.
Hey, Australians don't have dare. To be fair, dare kind of failed everything.
That sure did.
Yeah, it's the whole thing in itself. Um, Mass corruption was also a problem, with the head of the task force himself being arrested for taking bribes from gangs. Fingerprints from police officers were routinely found at labs as well, and these weren't just like police officers who were on the raid. It was just they were there, like the fingerprints were there from officers who had nothing to do with the raid. It was just evidence that they were there beforehand.
Oh, so you got inside workers.
Basically, despite the police's best efforts to ruin their own police work, the police did arrest John Higgs in 1996, who was the number one trafficker in Australia, after several years of investigations. You'd be surprised to find out that a lot of his drugs mysteriously disappeared and was discovered in the hands of various police officers. However, with his arrest, a power vacuum came, and with that, figures such as Jason Moran and Carl Williams power. Before I discuss the major families and the mass killings, I'd like to bring up one more catalyst on top of the Carl Williams situation. Alfonso Ganetano and Charles Hagagi, were both shot dead at their own houses in 1998, which led to many of their associates rising to power and hungry for blood.
That dude's got gang in his name.
Yeah, it was kind of nice, kind of fitting, actually.
Arrest him out the womb.
What do you charge my kid with? Trust me, ma'am. With a name like that, it's only trouble.
I'm gonna need to see your husband too.
In fact, anyone with this name specifically.
You got cousin?
Meanwhile, they'll have like easy, simple jobs, or like roofing houses or something. There are several factions involved in these killings. First being the Honor Society, which, unlike the honor societies in our local schools, this society involved Italians peddling drugs through force in Melbourne's fruit and veggie markets, which, again, veggies are a crime.
No, they're not.
Billy believes every time I eat vegetables, I get sick.
I think it's psychologically in your head.
No, it's not.
I planted it there.
There's a lot goes on in this head, and oh wow, something that makes me sick is not one of them.
Oh, maybe he does something. You did eat carrots last night.
I also ate 2 carrots today.
Did you get sick today?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Ooh, Ken's up. Okay, let's go, Anthony. It's stay focused. Oh, lost my place. Scroll.
Your veggies are a crime.
There we go. Okay, thank you. Ex-members of the Painters and Dockers Union would join forces with an association of Irish waterfront workers and form the Moran family. The Honor Society's fierce rival, the Carlton crew, would be involved. This crew came from the same stretch of Italy as society, but would find themselves aligning with the Moran family.
I guess they didn't have the Native Americans to take them out on.
Yeah, true. The Russians would be involved, as Nikolai the Russian Radev led the creatively named Radev gang, which is fitting considering the nickname the Russian is also very creative. Australia do better. Our gangsters have the better nicknames.
I wonder how the cops placed him with the gang.
Probably the same way how like American cops used to go in with gangs, and down in Mexico there's all that corruption down there too. They probably get approached. Hey, you want some more money? Yeah, sure. Why not? Well, I have to sneeze.
Let's see.
He's untyped.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, listeners. Turns out I'm almost allergic to the naming of vegetables. There's a group of friends who just decided to form the Sunshine Crew. I like this name because, despite no sources, I believe it's due to the fact that Australia somehow gets more sun than the fucking equator. There's a weird sound coming from our kitchen.
Yeah. Keep reading. I'll investigate.
Okay.
I think I hear that.
If you hear that, everyone else has to hear that. Be my Daphne. Don't we keep going? Okay. She doesn't care. Lastly, we have the Williams family, which, as you might guess, Carl Williams was a part of this family. Now, the task force I discussed to you earlier was the Piranha Task Force, Purana, not the fish. This was created by Victoria Police Commissioner Christine Nixon in 2003 to investigate the drug activity in Melbourne and the killings that I'll be detailing shortly. Was it a badger? Oh, you have a face on you.
There's nothing wrong with the kitchen. The only guess I can assume is it's the dishwasher and something clamped together.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Although there was a open, which creeped me out a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a little spooky.
If it opens again, I'm going to go to the store and get some sage. Continue.
Is that Christopher Walken?
Ghost.
Or no, the guy. Okay, you know
No,
what?
it's not. Go ahead. Read your story.
Success was hard to find at first, as gangsters feared death more than they cared about being arrested. In the first 3 years, the task force investigated 316 people, including those who wore a badge. The task force itself proved to be an inspiration and caused reform inside police departments throughout the country/island/continent. Eventually, the task force would disband in 2021 after meeting all goals and then some. Now, this is where I will be diving into a timeline of events now that we just know the different cast of characters involved in these killings. Starting off in 1995, things kick off when Greg Workman becomes Greg Deadman when he was shot and killed by Alfonso Ganatano, the almost arrested baby, over a 50,000 debt in Wando Grove, St. Kilda. In the following year, on August 15th, two mechanics, Tim Richards and Les Knowles, were shot and killed, with a third, Kim Traeger, injured by Gerald Preston. Preston would be sentenced to life in prison with a possibility of parole after 32 years. The killings was over a drug dispute with the Hells Angels, who Preston was a part of.
Australia had Hells Angels?
Hells Angels are everywhere.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. 420 and 97, George Marcus was shot 6 times. He was shot 6 times by 2 gunmen when he was visiting his parents' home in Box Hill North. Police found over $1.6 million worth of fake checks, and there's allegations that corrupt police were involved in the shooting. Marcus had connections with Saudi Arabian and Lebanese internationals in regards to a counterfeit ring. Marcus was also tied to the Chelk crime family. Hey, Downey won an award.
It's the best supporting.
Oppenheimer. January 16th, 98, 40-year-old Alfonso Ganatano, who was almost arrested as a baby, was murdered in his home just doing laundry. Life lesson, don't do laundry. Jason Moran was the suspected shooter.
He saw the last name. He knew.
You know how to happen. August 3rd, 98, 48-year-old mechanic John Furlan was killed via car bomb in his Subaru Liberty. No arrest remained.
Subaru Liberty.
It is a car that is not available in America, I believe. Let's see if we can
I think
pull it
we
up.
did this the last time.
Yeah, we talked about this last time. Let's see. Subaru Lit. Let's see here. Yep, it's also called the Legacy in some other countries, so that might be
Oh yeah, we have
why.
the legacy.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Oh,
It's just
that's nice.
only yeah, it says right. Legacy was sold as a Liberty in Australia out of deference to Legacy Australia, an organization dedicated to caring for the families of military service veterans. Huh, good for them. Yeah, it's just that, just with a different name.
Huh.
No arrests were made. However, Dominic Mick Gatto was believed to be the bomber due to a dispute about money between him and Furlan. 23rd November 1998, 42-year-old Charles Hegalji was killed in his home, also known as Mad Charlie, was heavily involved in the amphetamine trade. Fellow criminal Dino Debra became the number one suspect due to a dispute drug debt that went unsettled. A lot of disputed drug debts here.
He was mad Charlie because he was hyped up on meth. What do you want?
He was mad about the amphetamines. Inflation got him. 9th January 1999, Vince Manella, a former associate of Victor Pierce and Alfonso Ganetano, was ambushed and killed outside his home over a drug debt. Once again, no suspects were ever named. However, this was believed to also involve a power struggle. The 21st of February 99, Phone Du Nguyen was shot 6 times by a 357 revolver as he was exiting his car. Phone was a suspected heroin dealer, and his killer was Tom Scarborough, a major heroin dealer in Melbourne. A few days later, on the 24th of February, Damien Catania was waiting outside his home in Melbourne's Western District of Hoppers Crossing when a gunman, believed to be Andrew Vineman, shot him 4 times in the legs and groin in a drive. Bye, bye, bye. He survived and almost lost his leg, but spent 12 months recovering. Why
What
are you
a
getting shot in
dick.
the
You had to
dick?
shoot him in the dick. Yeah, you had to shoot him in the dick.
Glad we went to the same place there. However, on the 22nd of May of that year, he was sentenced to a minimum of 6 years in prison for dumping petrol on a man and lighting him on fire because he was just annoyed by that person.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, if you're being shot in the dick, you might be a little agitated by someone. The 28th of May, 1999, 57-year-old Joseph Quadara was about to start his shift at a Safeway supermarket where he worked as a grocer and a bagger when he was ambushed by 2 people and killed. Turns out this was a case of wrong identity, as the killers were meant to kill a different Quadara. But, life goes on.
So they thought this gangster was working on the fucking Safeway.
Apparently, they're like, "Oh, this is the name," and that's all they needed.
Yeah, no, it's a very serious mob family. We need to get the Safeway to pop this guy.
Can you imagine? Oh my god, this guy's cover is good.
The cops
Really
are never
committed.
gonna look. The cops are never gonna look at a cashier.
The 12th of June, Vicky Jacobs, who recently testified against her husband Gerald David Preston in a double murder case, was shot dead in her head in her home as she laid asleep.
Big move.
Yeah, well, clearing her head, I guess. I don't know.
Mhm.
The dick was worse.
Yeah, getting shot in the day. I mean, at least he lived, but
Do you really want to live after that?
no, no, no. Good point. Good point. 9th September, 38-year-old businessman Dimitrios Belius was killed with a single shot to the back of the head in an underground car park. Belius was an associate of Hegulji and was trying to sell fake diamonds to clear debts to underworld figures. His murderer was never arrested. However, in 2011, Michael John Henderson was sentenced to 7.5 years for stealing $500,000 to pay off debts to an alleged shooter related to this case. The 14th of September, 47-year-old gangster Milorad Dipsevic was last seen alive at a police station where he was providing a statement to police about an ongoing investigation. His body was never found, and police believed he was murdered. Millerad was an associate of Belius and had prior convictions of armed robbery and suspected in heroin trafficking. Now, on the 13th of October, this is where Carl Williams was shot in the stomach and lived. He also claimed he blacked out and could not remember any information about the shooters.
Convenient.
Yeah, very convenient considering he wanted to commit a one-man war against this whole crime family.
Well, yeah, if the cops got him, he couldn't.
Exactly. A week later, on the 20th of October, 31-year-old Gerardo Manella was ambushed outside his brother Vince Manella's home after attempting to flee the gunmen. These killers are the same ones believed to have killed Vince and Millerad. Danny DeVito! The clam! The clam himself. Oh my god, I'm almost done too. Okay.
You didn't even mention Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It's Danny fucking DeVito, alright? Okay. I'll be back. Happy?
Okay.
Now, who won't be back? No, just kidding. This next part, they will be back. 25th November, 1999. George and Carl Williams are charged with multiple drug offenses after a police raid uncovered an amphetamine factory worth over $20 million. These charges were never brought to court due to corruption within the drug task force, including police just taking the drugs for themselves and selling them.
Yeah, I mean, gotta make $1.
True. However, with the end of the 20th century, this segment will end for this week. Stay tuned next week where we enter the 21st century with more drugs, murder, corruption, and mayhem.
And crazy Australian animals.
He's talking shit on Batman.
Yep.
How dare he?
All right. We're going to get out of here so we can finish watching the Oscars. We thank everyone for joining us this week. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, feel free to follow us and let us know what you liked about it. Keep a lookout for a bonus episode this week that will be out on Thursday, and also Feedback Fridays, where you can share what you really think about us, topics you'd like to hear any of us talk about, any comments you have, any suggestions, anything. We welcome it, even if it's criticism, as long as it's not too harsh.
Don't be mean.
I'm a fragile Aries. Join us next week, and until then, full fucking send it.
Full send it.
We'll send it. Nailed it.